Yay. Good. So before I introduce our presenter, I have just a few tips for helping you communicate with us this morning. Let's see, your microphone and webcam are not needed this morning and will not be used in the webinar. All attendees' microphones have been muted, so you don't have to worry. If your dog is barking in the background, you know, if the Amazon guy comes to the door and the dogs are barking, don't worry about it. If you have a question in the, let's see, there we go. Yeah, so if you have a question during the webinar, anytime, click or tap the Q&A button on your Zoom toolbar. And that might be at the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen. And then you can type in your question. And Anna plans to stop to answer your questions 3 times this morning. He's going to talk for a little bit, stop for questions, talk for a little bit, stop for questions, talk for a little bit, and stop for questions. So even though you might see a chat icon in your toolbar, that function is turned off today. The webinar is being recorded and will be closed captioned and available at the webinar resources page by Monday. Tomorrow, I will send you an email. Lost my focus. I will send you an email that will have a link to the resources page that will be linking to the recording. Let's see, what else to tell you? So yeah, you can exit, oops, I'm going to go back so you can see that. You can exit out of full screen. That toolbar is probably at the top of your screen, depending on whether you're watching on a web browser or an iPad or a tablet. And let's see, you can change how the screen is being viewed on your computer. You can arrange it so you're seeing Anna at the top or on at the side while he's sharing his screen. And you can resize the shared screen. Once it's up, you can move the separator a little bit to change the ratio. And let's see, I'm going to stop at this slide right here. There we go. So yeah, the plan is we're going to go to at least 10:30 this morning, and that will allow lots of time for Anna to give his presentation and for you to ask questions and for him to answer them. And let's see, yeah, so the plan is that he'll talk for about 20 minutes about virtual programming, stop for questions. The second part, first part, outdoor programming. Then the second part, virtual programming, and then the third part is take-home crafts. So with that, I need to stop talking. I'm just going to introduce Anna. Anna Horjus was born in the Netherlands and is a multi-talented freelance visual artist, children's book illustrator, and part-time library program coordinator at the Baraboo, Wisconsin Public Library. Welcome, Anna. Are you ready to start?
I am ready to start. And yeah, thank you for the introduction. You're going to help me toggle between all the different screens. It's going to be an experience. I'm excited.
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen, and that way it's free for you to start sharing your screen.
So, so I have to share my screen.
Yes, please.
Well, here I share screen. There, that one.
Beautiful.
I do, yes, cool.
Nope. Ooh, don't close that.
Okay, I want to minimize that.
Yes.
Good morning. Let me click here.
This is a good way for everyone to know this is a live presentation.
Live presentation. So you see me here.
Yes, I can see your slide. Yeah, looks
my
good.
Face and the Zoom. Am I still there or no? Because I can.
You're still here.
No, I can see my own face here. Just see how much I know about this, and I'm going to present about it. So let me just start. This is the first slide. My name is Anna Horjus. Anna is a Frisian name from the northern part of the Netherlands. Maybe some of you thought I was going to be a woman, but I'm not. It's a very old-fashioned name. I was named after my aunt, and my aunt was named after her uncle. I work at the Baraboo Public Library here in Wisconsin, and I'm a program coordinator. It's a part-time job for me, or it's a little bit more than part-time, but then I also am a freelance artist on the side. So welcome, and I'm going to talk to you for about, well, hopefully 20 minutes, and then we can do some questions. I'm going to show you all the things that we've been doing since the pandemic hit, all the outdoor programs that we felt safe enough doing. Of course, some of it is, let me click here. Some of it is during the lockdown, some of it is before, so you'll see masks and you'll see no masks. You know, slowly the pandemic started hitting and we started realizing how serious this all was. So what's on the menu today? Well, we're going to talk about outdoor programming and how to connect with your community. I'm going to talk about some of the virtual program I've been doing, and I'm going to explain how I do take-home crafts. So in this picture, what you see is on the left side, that's our Scarecrow Parade. We every year in the fall, we organize a Scarecrow Parade where people can come to the library. Actually, this time we did it in the park. And of course, perfectly socially, with social distancing, we dress up across that we hand out to all the participants, and they can turn it into a scarecrow. Then they can bring them home or they can leave them at the park, and we make a map and people can drive around, judge those scarecrows, and we get those results back, and we have the funniest, the silliest, the best book character. So we have a whole bunch of categories. The best business one, because businesses also participate. It's getting more and more popular, and people love to get out and drive around and do this scarecrow thing. So that's just explain the pictures. On the other side, you see a scarecrow sitting in a wagon. Well, normally what the kids could do after they read 1,000 books before they entered kindergarten, they were joining us in a parade that we have every year here in Baraboo. Well, of course, this parade didn't happen this year. So what did we do? We dressed the scarecrow up as a graduate, and we made a display in every kid that in the yard of every child that had participated in this 1,000 books before kindergarten program, and that had completed it. So it said, Hank, here lives a person that completed 1,000 books before kindergarten. And so people that would drive by in the cars were asked to honk their horns of the car. And it was very fun. We've done it all over town. So let me click to the next one. So that's what you see in the first. You see the menu. So here we've done here's a picture of the start of some outdoor programming. We've done a lot of scavenger hunts. We've done a lot of outdoor games, and we've done some self-guided tours. So here people are coming outside to be part of a scavenger hunt. This was way in the beginning of the pandemic. The first one, one of the first ones that we did was a ghost tour around downtown Baraboo. That's where I live. And we have this person that organizes those ghost tours. She does historical tours, all kinds of tours. And we asked her to organize a tour for the kids and our families. And so we could have them in clusters of families, and they didn't have to interact with each other. And they could walk around town, the downtown of Baraboo, and we would tell them about special spots that were supposed to be haunted. And the other thing that we did, we had 15 iPads, and we preloaded all the stories of all those different ghost stories in Baraboo on the iPad, and people could listen to it. Kids could operate them. They loved it. Of course, if you don't have iPads, you can write them down and just hang them in the spot. I marked all the spots with a white ghost that I cut out. I'll show you later how I did that. And then one of the destinations was the lady that you see in the middle picture on the bottom. She has ways to communicate with the ghosts. There are apps that you can download on your phone, or she had one of those triangular sticks, or she had 2 sticks and you could ask the ghost questions. It was very fun. It would be great to do around Halloween or something like that. And it was interesting. So that was one of the things that we did. The other thing that we did was very proud of this too. We did a cemetery scavenger hunt where we had connected with the Historical Society, and the Historical Society organized a tour on the cemetery of all prominent people in Baraboo or interesting people in Baraboo. And we did the same thing. We preloaded stories on the iPads, or we had people act as the person that was buried in the grave. Like, for example, L. Ringling in the middle. This person knew his whole talk, so he just acted it out for the families. And that by itself was very fun, the whole scavenger hunt. But what I thought was most important is we also handed out, and you will have this in the folder that Joy will share with you later. There's a whole bunch of handouts that go with all the scavenger hunts and all the ideas that I have out here that you can use, so you can work through it yourself, or you can adapt it to your own programs if you're interested in something like this. But anyway, so there's a list of rules of etiquette, of what the etiquette should be if you visit a cemetery. And I think it's very important to share that with our families. Of course, we want to role model it to all the children, but also to the parents. And so the other thing that we did, first of all, we gave them the scavenger hunt. We gave them a set of rules of how to behave on the cemetery. And then the other thing that we did is we gave everyone flowers, so they could go around and put flowers down on the sites if they wanted to, if something had a special meaning to them. It was a very successful program. It's easy, and it's a great way to connect with the community as well. So the other thing that we did is we connect with the zoo, and I realized that a lot of people don't have zoos around their communities. We're fortunate to have a free zoo here, but it still gives you some ideas of what you could do. Of course, you can go to a farm, or you can go to an animal rescue, or do anything with people that have animals, or you just have to kind of think outside of the box. These are all the different things that we did at the zoo. We did something about skins. Of course, you can work with the DNR, or we did feed the animals. That might be something you could do in a farm too, or at a humane society. Poo at the zoo was very interesting. We talked about all the different kinds of poo that animals leave behind. And then the scavenger hunt was, the kids had to answer questions about this. And I had all the questions set up under a paper toilet seat. So they had to lift the toilet seat, and that's where the question was. And then they had to figure it out and put them up with the right answer on their sheet, and that would spell out a line. Well, poo at the zoo, of course, if you don't have a zoo, you can't do poo, but you could, for example, you could go to your wastewater plant and do something like that over there. It would be very interesting. You can put animal facts in there, or you can just do scavenger hunt about, recycling water. So that's a little bit about that. And the other thing that we did was Pets Alive. That was another thing. I have a folder where there are samples of bed buttons and stuff like that you can use. It's all in there. And the last thing that we are going to do next summer is art at the zoo. So this is something you can easily do at a farm too, or someone that has a horse or a cow. You just take a group of people out there, you set some tables up, and you draw the animals. Maybe an art teacher can come out from the school that you could connect with. It's a great way to use the community and to expose the kids to that. So there's another scavenger hunt that we did. This is our Kindness Is scavenger hunt. I made paper houses. Of course, they're Dutch because I'm Dutch. And we planted them around the downtown of Baraboo. And then we asked the different businesses to make a little display that represented an act of kindness. So, for example, the top left, it was like a miniature soldier shop. It's a kind of an odd shop, but I mean, the thing that he has in his display says, I believe, kindness is counting the small things. And so you see numbers there. You see a whole bunch of tiny little things around the numbers. You see a house, and then you see a little yellow card in front of those numbers. So all the kids had a black light, flashlight along. And so if they figured out what it was, they had to use their black light, shine it on that little card, and with invisible ink, we wrote a letter on it. And that letter they had to copy on their sheet, and that would spell out a sentence. I think it was like light up your community with kindness. And then, of course, in the bottom was a real estate agent, and that was kindness is being nice to new neighbors. And so we came up with a whole bunch. I think they're also in the folder. And the houses I designed myself in Word. I'm going to show you later how to do that. And then I cut them out with a Cricut. Here's a hobo quilt scavenger hunt. We had someone donate a hobo quilt to the library. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. I was not at all, but this is what I love about reaching out, is you learn so many different things. So a hobo quilt has all different kinds of symbols that the hobos would use while they traveled around to mark certain areas and to tell other hobos about what was going on in that area. So the kids had to find all those different symbols, and then they had to draw them in their own quilt. So the quilt was on display, and I think it was, of course, it was raffled off at some point, or someone won it. And all the kids had a paper quilt. You see on the left side where the kids use this quilt and they draw all those symbols in there. And then the other thing that they did was at the library, they made a bindle stick. It's a stick with a bag made out of a piece of cloth. And that's where they had their pencil, their sheet and their worksheet, and I think some other things in that they used for this scavenger hunt. So this is kind of how we set it up. So here you see the quilt that the person made. It was the Quilting Guild that did it in Baraboo. So another great way to connect. And then in the middle, I made in Word again, I drew this quilt. And on the right side, there are the things that are hung around downtown, all the different symbols that represent the symbols on the quilt. And the children just had to, or the families just had to find the right spots and put them all on their own quilt. It was very successful. People loved it. We got a lot of great feedback, and you can give them a lot more information. You can give the stores information about the hobos. They can have a little display that educates kids, because of course the hobos, when they were traveling around and working all over, they really boosted the economy during the whole depression, and that really made a huge difference for the USA, that people were able to travel and work like that all over. So the other thing that we did was a game of notes, and it was a musical scavenger hunt. I put music boxes. I collaborated with the high school band director, and I borrowed a whole bunch of cases from different instruments, put them around town, put all the questions and the clues in there. We put some old instruments in there the kids had to assemble or take apart. And then you can see some of the questions that we asked. I just copied them and put them on this page. And that was also a great program. So, of course, depending on how safe it is, you can either do it outside or you can have some display set up in the stores. It's, again, a great way to connect with the community. I do a lot with the downtown businesses. This is not a scavenger hunt. This was one of the celebrations that we did in May. It is a super simple program. We made a big pole and we hung ribbons in 2 different colors. And you can look up different patterns on the internet. So it's basically a big outdoor dance. Kids dress up. They all grab a ribbon. And depending on the color ribbon that you have to follow certain instructions. And when you do that, you can make patterns around this pole with your ribbon. So it's kind of like weaving. And it's math, and of course it always goes wrong, but that's the fun part. And because it's just exposing kids to yet another thing. I'm never worried about things going wrong, obviously. We just want to have fun. But this Maypole was a great celebration too. You don't want to look up what the Maypole celebrations really are about. It's not very appropriate, but that doesn't matter. You can still make a poll, and for the questions, if you have questions about it later, I have the Maypole right here if you want to see how I put it together. So we did an outdoor fashion show. We did paper mache, and then of course this was right before the pandemic hit. I think this was even last year, but it doesn't matter. You can still do things like this safely. paper mache. We had kids sewing. We have sewing machines in the library. Kind of my philosophy is that it doesn't matter if a child or a person knows how to use it or knows how to make a piece of clothing. If it just sits behind the sewing machine and presses the pedal and has you feed the materials through, or that's already enough. I think it's very important to expose kids at a very young age to as much things as possible, so they're not afraid of it when they get older. It's the same with reading, and it's the same with, for example, a sewing machine. I was exposed to a lot of that when I was a little kid. I had an aunt who showed us how to sew and how to knit and how to macrame and all those things. And because of that, I just try everything. I'm not afraid of it. And I think it's very important to do that with kids. And I think the libraries have a very important role in that. So another thing that we did was an outdoor a guessing game where we connected with a Baraboo Theater Guild here in town. It was called Once Upon a Story. They acted out different fairy tales and kids walked around with a sheet. And of course, in the bottom left, you can see all the tents set up. So it's perfect for social distancing. And they walked around with a sheet and they had to guess the fairy tales that the people were acting out. It was very fun. We're going to do it again this summer, but this, of course, is going to be more related to animals. It's simple. The people can work in their family units, so you don't have to interact with other people if you don't feel it's safe. And it was, again, a big success. So you see the setup and you see kind of how it acted. I know some of those pictures will never leave you, but you know, that was the fun part of it too. So a couple more last outdoor games. We did worm races outdoor, where you, that's something we do every year. You draw a small circle and a big circle. You place the worms in the smaller circle, and the worm that crawls, that's the first one to crawl out of the big circle is the winner. Very easy to do outside. We did it out on the parking lot on placemats. That was easy. Paint pouring in the middle. You get all leftover paints. People bring in acrylic color paint from their house, and you put it in little cups, and kids pour the paint on a big panel, and you leave it outside, and it needs to dry for a couple days, and it turns into a beautiful piece of art. If you have more questions about it, please email me. I'm kind of rushing through the whole thing because I know that I have a lot of things to cover. And then, of course, the Scarecrow Parade, I talked about that. And the last thing that is on this page is a photo match game. I went around downtown Baraboo, and with my cell phone, I took pictures of everything that was about 3 feet high, so every kid can spot it. And then I asked families to go around and take exactly the same pictures. And that was the whole game. So they had to match in the comments on the Facebook event. They had to match the picture that I took with their own camera. So they have to run around, and it's a hide and seek game. And for 2021, these are the things that we are planning, hoping to do outdoor. We're going to do a stable house tour. Stable houses, of course, with the old houses in downtown. Every house is a stable house. We, again, are going to connect with the Historical Society that can help set it up. About the importance of horses in communities like ours. We're going to do art at the zoo or at the farm. I have people that have horses. We might go out there. We do a 4-H showcase at the library. You could do it easily outside with kids bringing their animals to show. And we're also going to invite the Wisconsin Holstein Association. We've done this for years now. And you see a picture on the right side where this little calf is trying to eat off my ear. Kids are petting a little calf above in the middle picture. Also very, very fun, and they do it for free. So if you have a chance to connect with the Wisconsin Holstein Association, ask them if they can bring a cow to your library. They'll set it up outside. They wash the cow from a local farm, and kids get to see a cow from up close. And if you are asking them for a calf, you know, of course, it had to be the right time. We had both a calf and a cow. It's very entertaining. They bring staff that explains the importance about farms and milk production. So also very educational. So, and I am ready for some questions, if you have any questions. And before I go to the next thing.
Great, Anna. Yes, we got 2 questions in. You're ready for them. And if you want to take a sip of water or anything, this is a good, you're
I'm getting
good?
some caffeine here.
Okay, good. All righty. So the first question was about the visits to farms or other locations. Question was, do you all provide transportation or simply have families meet you there?
Yes, we don't, it wouldn't be safe right now. We've done it in the past, hired a school bus, but it turned out not to be so popular. So we always tell people, take and most of the locations, of course, a farm is outside of town, but the zoo is in walkable distance. But most of the times people will come out with their own transportation. And so that's how we do it. It's easy and it takes away the whole liability issue too.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second question we got in was about the hobo quilt. Person asked, did you say the quilt pieces were hid in the Baraboo businesses? She loves this idea.
Yes, so we had them around downtown. We had those signs hanging up. We work with very little kids, so we try to keep it simple and all the kids, and we want to make it interesting for all of them. We have, I believe we had them hanging out and they just had to find them. Yeah, and sometimes they had to go in a business, sometimes outside, depending on, what you're comfortable with. But the people would come out and we had the shop owners also explain things to the families about, like the hairdresser, the barber, the barber poles outside. There's a whole thing behind that too. They were explained, and I don't know how it exactly connects anymore, but it's really interesting. You learn so much when you talk to people.
And it's nice. It really engages the downtown business owners. So excellent.
Yes.
So we got 3 more questions in. So the next question was, did you have to deal with vandalism? We had fairy houses set up and a story walk that got vandalized. We redid fairy houses, but are waiting for better equipment for story walk. So did you have any vandalism in Baraboo?
We have a story walk set up too. We bought very heavy duty metal, things to do our story walk, but they actually vandalized it too. They hit the top plastic, and it is what it is. We just have to replace them. And I don't know if you're ever going to have to get away from that. It depends on the community, I guess. We've had that was kind of the only thing that happened here. Lately, we have been doing really, really well. It kind of goes up and down. Sometimes there's a group out there that enjoys destroying stuff, and now it seems calm in Baraboo again. But
oh dear,
hard issue. But
yeah.
And of course, when we do it downtown, we have all the stores and the businesses, and they'll all keep an eye out. So
good. So another question, did you give out any prizes or incentives for the scavenger hunts?
Yes, we did. We did for the glow in the dark scavenger hunt. We bought glow sticks, those noodle things. For the hobo quilt, I don't think we had a prize. Maybe some of the stores handed some stuff out. I'm pretty sure they did. Yes, we had some stores that handed out popcorn and they could put it in a bindle stick and other things. So that was a great plus. But we're investing into the bindle stick, into the materials. Yeah, we do sometimes hand out little tchotchkes. I can't really think of what offhand, but I know for the glow sticks we did, for the glow in the dark we did the glow sticks.
Good, thank you. One more question, and I think we have a couple of minutes more for the question and answer session. How long were your scavenger hunts? 4 hours, 1 day, 1 week?
The glow in the dark we did twice. We left it set up because I took glow in the dark chalk and I actually drew on the windows of the storefronts. And so they could shine the lights on it, and they made a little display so it was recognizable. And because of COVID, we actually split it in two, so we didn't have a huge group of people out. And so we did it 2 times in a row. So we left it up for, we did it 2 Mondays after each other. Now, normally a scavenger hunt takes about 30-40 minutes. So it doesn't take that long. It shouldn't take that long, but you know, you never know. Every scavenger hunt is different, and people might go home if the kids are little, but you know, they still get exposed and they still get out. And I'm not about, you know, they don't have to finish it. They just have to have a fun time. That's all that I'm about. It, you know, a good memory.
Yes. Thank you. Well, that's all the questions we got so far.
Great.
Yes, you had more? Oh,
no,
okay.
I said great.
Oh, I thought you said wait.
No.
But, and we got another question.
Sweet.
So the last question we'll take during this time period, and Anna will save time a couple more times this morning, is how many activities or projects do you offer a month?
We, during the summer, we, during the year, we do 1 special program a month in a normal year. And then we do Storytime Monday nights, Tuesday mornings, Wednesday mornings, and I do craft afternoon, Thursday afternoons. And but now when COVID, and I do a homeschool program in between. So some programs are monthly, some are weekly. So we do a lot of programming. Of course, when COVID hit, it's all changed. So now I do a story time, and I do a show and tell. In the past, I did a story time and a craft afternoon. It takes a little bit of time to set up. The scavenger hunts we do during the summer, we're going to do it not scavenger hunts, but we're going to do special programs every Thursday. So in addition to all that.
Great, thank you. Well, I think we'll save, we don't have any more questions right now. So if you want to keep on going, Anna, I'll turn off my mic while you keep going.
So you still see my screen, my virtual programming screen.
Yep.
So here we go. Virtual programming, of course, then COVID hit, and we did all the outdoor programming, and we, of course, also had to explore virtual programming. Well, that was a lot of learning, very fun. I love to experiment and explore, and I know everything is going to go wrong, and you just have to live with it. You know, we are not BBC and we're not PBS, so we are just going to do it the way we're going to do it. And it's our community. People know us. They're forgiving. It'll be fun. It'll be even more entertaining when things go wrong. So please don't be afraid of that. So I'll talk a little bit about Facebook Live, YouTube, Zoom connected to Facebook Live, and Google Meet. The first thing that you need when you are going to set up your virtual programs is, what I would do is I would get a second person or a tripod. Second person is very handy because they can check a lot of things as you're trying to get ready. Lapel microphone, we've been trying different ones. We've not always had good luck with them. You really want to test everything. So often we had to unplug it and just use the phone as is, which is fine. The other thing you want to do is create a test group in your, maybe connected to your library account, and just invite a couple people and keep testing everything. So you know what you're doing, and it is very helpful. We've done it, and then still things go wrong. Don't be afraid, there's always plan B, and you have to have a location. So for example, I'm now sitting in front of my mural in the Bearable Public Library, which is, I think, a nice background. It works really well. You really want to think about where you set yourself up. What I would not recommend is, for example, do this and get just a blah white background. It just really makes everything so much less interesting. I know that a lot of kids just love to see your face, but it's fun to have a fun background too. Now, I usually don't even do it inside. I usually go outside because the light is much better and it's a lot more interesting. And we have that possibility to do programs outside. There's no one else, just me and my colleague. So you want to make your test group. And that's where you're going to start your test, your first Facebook Live, if you haven't done anything like that before. So what I would recommend, and it doesn't matter, you can do it right away. You can go live like that. Just keep your phone the way it is. Maybe do it in selfie mode or do it the other way. But you can also turn off your lock if you have it set up. You swipe down on your phone. This is my iPhone. I don't know how it goes with other phones. You might want to have to YouTube that. Then it looks like this. So the portrait orientation lock is off. Then what you do is you go live. You click the live button here and you start a live video here. That is me. And of course, I got a really horrible background, but you get the idea. I just want to make sure that you understood what it's doing here. Then what you do is you rotate your phone and then you get this. And when you rotate your phone, you can click here. And let me think about what I was going to tell you. And then you get on the bottom, you get this little set of tools. I hope you can see my cursor. First you click the wand, you get the set of tools. And what that does is you can mirror your screen. So if you are reading to yourself in selfie mode, and I think some of you have had the problem, and you read a book to the camera, everything will be mirrored. So no one's going to be able to read the book along, and you won't, and the pictures will all be opposite. It's going to be, but you can change that. So this is the way to change that. It's very helpful if you want to do that, if you're just by yourself. Otherwise, you can just have your colleague film you from the other side. This was something that I've done a couple times. And the plus of this is that the microphone of your phone is directed at you then, and it will pick up the sound better. Whereas if you film the other way, the microphone will be directed at the person that is filming you. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. But so this is a little thing we're going to share the slides with you later so you can look at it again. So this is actually this button here. That's actually where you mirror your screen. So that's what I thought would be fun, because you just kind of figured it out. So you're going to do, this is all the things that we did virtually this year. We did story times, we did craftings, 4K visits, show and tells, and we did interviews. So here are samples of my story times. So I'm going outside with everything that I'm doing because I like the light better. I like to interact with my community, and it's just a lot more fun, and I can educate. So I bring an appropriate book that goes with the location if I want to do that. This was kind of a guessing game where people had to guess where I was, and I can show you one sample here. If I click on it, see if this works. So I'm going to my Facebook account, and it should open up the video. And if it's not happening, you have to click on it yourself later. Anyway, so here's Where in the Boo is Mr. Anna, and I'm on the rooftop of a store. And it's a beautiful day outside. And so it took people a really long time to guess where I was. They had to watch the show over and over again before they got it. So I just hook up with local businesses, ask if they know, if they have a location where I can, I gotta go back to my presentations right here, where I can hide myself, and they would come up with really interesting spots. So, for example, I was on a rooftop. I was in a bookstore somewhere up high. I was in the basement of a toy store. And what was really interesting about that store used to be a dry cleaner, and they had a safe in the basement where they kept all the fur coats. So that was set up in the basement. So you can, if you have a chance later, you can click on all those links. I did a ride with a police officer. I did a rickshaw ride, and there's also a very interesting interview here that I did with someone. If you know anyone in your community that does something special, please hook up with these people, go over, ask if you can interview them. It's so interesting. You learn so many things. So I was here in this person's basement, and this man is making a suit of armor. And like LARPing groups, they will make things like that. And it was just, look at all that stuff. And that's what you get when you reach out. You always learn something new. You find people that make stuff that you never heard about before. And it's just really interesting. So I'm gonna have to click out of this. And so it's all very fun for me and interesting. Oh, I'm going ahead. And that's what I like to do. I like to have fun myself. So if you have a chance, click on those later so you can kind of get an idea. Here, this is a 4K visit. What we did, we hooked up with a city of Baraboo. Doesn't have to be, you can do other things too, but of course we work for the city. So we asked them for the schedule of their garbage trucks. And we set ourselves up in a little cul-de-sac with our little kid chairs, and we we had an appointment with the garbage truck operators, and we made a live story time where we read about the garbage truck, and then we saw this garbage truck go around, like, I bet it was like 8 garbage cans, and we ran after it, looking at this garbage truck dumping all these garbage cans, and it was a ton of fun. You can see in the bottom left, you can see where kids are watching it in their schools. And then also the city had set up right after to have a leaf vacuum come by and suck all the leaves from the sidewalks. So that was a double thing going on there. And so we've done that. We have done, we've gone sledding for the 4K group. I set up a cherry picker, and I read, I also like to find books that work really well. Like, I don't know if you've heard about the book, They All Saw a Cat yet. It's a book about different animals and people that look at a cat in different ways. Of course, a mouse looks at a cat as a monster. A bird looks at a cat as a tiny little animal on the ground. A dog looks at a cat as a toy to go after and play with. Well, so that is one of the books I'm going to read when we go in this cherry picker. And this cherry picker is supposed to go 70 feet above the ground. I can't wait for that. And look down and look at Baraboo from a different angle. So that's kind of what I'm going for. We do this once a month, twice, for the morning group and for the afternoon group. So here's a sample of what I've done with It's Not a Box. So, and I think we have a little trouble with the sound to try to get it up, but please look at it, look at it. So this is our railroad station depot, and it's, oh, that's my hand. And it was falling apart and was used as a storage unit. And now the Historical Society bought it, and they're going to turn it into something else. And so I'm reading about a box and compare it to the building. He's on top of the box. Oh, look. They're sitting on top of the box too. So that is what I really enjoy about connecting with downtown, figuring out ways to connect picture books to your community. And so then later I have an interview with the director of the Historical Society. And again, we talk about etiquette protocol, what you do when you get close to a building, why those red things are out there. Of course, you can't go close to it, but you can go look at it. We count all the windows in the building. Hey, there's a slide. Is that a fun toy? No, of course not. It's for the garbage to come down. And and then I have a book about all kinds of trains in the past. I have pictures that I show the kids of what the Home Depot used to look like. And then we talk about what the Historical Society is imagining doing with this box. So that's kind of how I work. Oh, now I need to go to the next slide. There. There. So that's our 4K visits. The other thing that I've been doing lately is I do show and tells, and we invite people to come to the library masked, and or we go out to their location if they have something to show, and I film them and I edit the videos in iMovie. It's a Mac product. It's on my iPhone. I don't know, some of you might have an iPhone or have a Mac. I love using iMovie. I'm sure there's other programs that you can use that will work with a PC. And I have a certain formula for putting those show and tells together. So I have a little picture that I start with in the beginning. It opens up, and I'm going to just play one for you. So you can look at all of them. This is Andrew. This is on the farm, and he has cooney pigs. And I hope that you can hear a little bit of what he's saying. And if not, you might have to look at it again. I've done a whole bunch yet. I'm going to go back to Andrew later with chickens. He's going to be posted next week. They're only about 3 minutes long. But, you know, that's kind of what I think people enjoy. Let me drag this away and see if I can make it full screen. So this is kind of the picture that I made. There's oh. No, it should go full screen, I hope. Maybe I broke it. Well, I guess no. So there's Andrew. So what I do with these videos is I film the child 15 minutes, and I ask the parents not. I asked the parents not to interact too much, not ask them questions, not coach him, just let the kid talk, do his thing. It's all about the child. And then I go take this 50-minute video, I put it in my movie program, and I cut it up in sections of about 3 seconds each. And so if you look at all those little scenes, 1, 2, 3, well, he's saying something, but every time I try to keep it to a 3-second limit if there's no talking going on or if it's not interesting. It makes the video a lot more interesting and fun. And then I cut everything extra out. So I trim it back to about 3 minutes. And it goes really fast. People get a little bit. So that people get a little bit of an impression of what this situation is like. And it has been very successful. These are cooney pigs. They were bred by the Maori in New Zealand. How interesting is that? And they're tiny, and I always compliment the kids on how gentle and sweet and respectful they are to their animals. It's great role modeling. And I think it does a lot more than just showing, educating other people about animals. They love corn. Yes, They like corn. Cooney pigs. Oh. And of course, you want to hold the camera really close to the animals. I put it on a tripod so I can flip it upside down and hold it underneath the pigs. The closer, the better. It's cute, all different funny angles. And I just keep trimming. Don't be afraid to cut away. You don't want to make a long, boring video with a lot of nothing going on. And it's hard, but it's super fun. And it's something you can do at your desk, you know, because of course, a lot of people just have curbside pickup. So now he's going to show me the chickens, but I saved that for another time. So you kind of get an idea of, let me click this away, of what, if I click here, does it? I want the screen to go big again. Uh-oh. This is another one. I got all. So what happens is I have mute app. I have all these controls of my Zoom on top of it, and I can't click this. Oh, here, I'll do it right here. This is Briella. So you kind of get an idea of what it looks like. Let me go to the next slide. So the other thing that we did is we connected with the International Crane Foundation, and and you can do that too. You can contact the Crane Foundation but they're here in Baraboo, but they're all over the world. And they put together, Tell Me a Story All About Cranes. And this person, his name is Ben Lamb. They do it for free. And they had a whole panel of interns that were Zooming with us and telling us different stories and legends of cranes. And it was very interesting. And so we kept going back and forth between all those different people, and they were reading stories. They were showing us pictures, different attributes, and they're all over the country. So they're not all here in Baraboo. And so that was very interesting too. So if you have a chance, you can also hook up with organizations like that, because they're willing to reach out, and they're all about educating. So International Crane Foundation, I would give them a call too. So for the next thing, that's one of the, I'm kind of a little bit in a time crunch here, but one of the softwares that I've been using, if you want to kick it up a notch, it's called OBS. It's free software. And we did our annual turkey bingo. Every year we do a turkey bingo, and we get about, last couple of times we had about 250 people show up for that. Of course, that's not safe anymore. So now it's a virtual program, and I was able to do this with OBS. This is kind of what it looks like. So on the top left, you see the setup. I was sitting behind the table, at TV behind me, and then in the middle you see the bingo cards. It's all picture bingo, so people don't have to read, and it's all pictures of previous programs that we've done. And you can use a bingo card generator, and if you're interested, I can send you the link. I think it might even be in the folder. It's a free program that generates bingo cards with pictures that you upload. And then on the right side, you see the interface of OBS as it is on your TV screen. So me in the left top, the bingo card setup is the big white thing. Those are the rules. In that case, we're going to make a letter A. And underneath, you see the same thing with just going from left to right, or left or right to left. That's the rules. And then I was with an extra camera, that was my cell phone that was filming me. That's what you can do with OBS. So you can do different combinations. It's a live stream program. It takes about 10 seconds, the delay, and you can set up different scenes. So you can have yourself in the picture and show other slides, or you have two different moving pictures going on. It's a little bit complicated. It's not easy, but if you are handy with that kind of stuff, it's well worth it. It's free. This is what the interface looks like. And again, you see a picture of a program. So that's the bingo number in a little picture of a previous program that we've done. And this is how we set up our bingo cards. So here you see interface. On the left is all the scenes. In the middle, you see all the sources that I use that are in this picture. So the background color, the turkey bingo thing here, the logo of the library, the announcer, the color sources green, and this is the image. And so I just click in between the numbers on the left that correspond with the bingo cards that I pull. So if you're interested, there's a link to our bingo, and you can see the program. So any questions?
Gosh, yes, we've got a lot of good questions.
I know it's a lot of stuff.
We may take the full 10 minutes of our question and answer session. So I'm going to set 2, 3, 4, my timer. So let me start with the first question. So for the outdoor activities, do you require participants to be wearing face masks? And if so, were people compliant? Did you have to spend any time ensuring people were distancing and wearing masks correctly?
Yes, we do require everyone to wear face masks. And so what we do if they don't have face masks, we have face masks for them. And so that is, of course, a big issue. If people don't want to wear face masks, you know, they weren't allowed to be part of the program because it's out of safety for other people too. We've had, of course, this problem too. We don't tend to not make a fuss out of it, but we are not going to serve the people from close. We keep ourselves safe. So, you know, I'm not going to get mad about it or anything, or, you know, even when people come into the library to check stuff out, we are behind plexiglass. So I feel safe doing that. And in our library, it's a policy that if people really insist on not coming in with no face masks, we are staying behind plexiglass. We don't have to interact out in the department with them. So
understandable.
So with the programs outside, they have to wear face masks. That's one of the rules. It's on every sheet that we hand out.
So I'm guessing when you do live story times, you're also wearing a mask?
I wear a mask, but when I read my book, I take it off. Yeah, and that's another safety thing. So I do it outside. So, so yeah, we're comfortable with it. Plus kids can see my face. My colleagues is standing away from me, but if I interact with, for example, I talk to Paul Walter, the director of the Historical Society, you bet I will wear my face mask. And everything is about role modeling. So that's kind of how I look at it. And I always announce it, you know, out of respect for the people around me. I'm putting my face mask on. I just read you a book so you can see my face. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but.
I think so. That answered the question. Thank you. Let's see. So I'll ask a question about the when you were talking about the where in the boo is Mr. Anna. How did the participants get you their guesses for where you were reading from without you accidentally revealing the answer for others?
So they put it in the comments. So they just watch the Facebook Live and they say, "Oh, you're there." And I always tell them at the beginning, please give me your guess after I read the book. Of course, no one follows that rule, but you know, because I don't want people to just guess where I'm at. So that was a little bit an issue. So now we changed it a little bit and we're hiding something in 4 episodes. We have an elephant that we're going to hide. And if you find this elephant anywhere, you have to put it in the comments, but it also means you have to watch every show. You know, but they can win something. So we hooked up with the chamber and they can win chamber bucks. I don't know if the other communities have that, but our Chamber of Commerce, you know, they have $25 chamber bucks you can win. So it's a nice price. But if they don't guess, we just stick it back in our pot and we use it for something else. And I make it really hard. I sometimes even film just the sky because people can see where I'm walking, what direction I'm walking. And they pick it up and yeah, It has been a lot of fun.
Cool. Okay, so a question about, do you have to incorporate reading a book with a formal story time? Is it okay to just read an interesting book and have a small reflection about it?
Absolutely. I think whatever you're comfortable with, you know. I like to put thought in that. It doesn't always work. But what I like about doing outside is it's a lot safer. And you can connect to your community. You know, you can teach your audience about what's going on in town. A lot of people didn't even know that we had a railroad station, you know, because it was abandoned. And so did I understand the question right? Did I answer it right? Or
I believe so, yes. So I have about 3 questions about the show and tell videos where you go to the location or you have a child doing something. So for the show and tell videos, do you have the family sign a permission slip to post a video of their children online?
that's a good question. I've done it in the past with other things. I have not this time. And the reason is if they don't like it, I'll delete it. You know, you can always say sorry afterwards. I mean, yeah, we can go through all those hoops and loops to do the right thing. I'm doing my best, and they already agreed to be filmed here. And, you know, they sent me a question if they wanted to be part of it. If you have any feedback for me on how I could possibly get in trouble with that, please let me know. But, you know, I always say, you know, there's always a delete button. If they don't like it, bye. And so far, I've only had positive feedback. So people are very excited about it.
Because when you're contacting the parents, you're explaining it's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be for people to see. Okay.
Yeah. And that's also how I recruit. So I put it under a show and tell. If you want to be part of the show and tell, please send me an email.
So they're kind of opting in at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question about the virtual show and tell with kids. Do you do an initial visit to plan it out and then a second visit to do the filming?
Nope. I just go over there, I film, because it has to be spontaneous, or they can come in here, and 15 minutes, I just film them. And there's always interesting stuff that kids say. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to coach it. You don't have to give it direction. Just let the kid do what he or she wants to do. And I just trim it up and I pick out the interesting, if there's anything interesting that they're saying. Or like I have this one little boy that's just drawing and he's just humming as he's drawing. Well, beautiful. It doesn't need more than that. And then, you know, I can, if I can, like I will show some of his artwork and there's an ambulance coming at you. Well, of course, I put some sound effects with that, you know, where you can do that with your camera, with your video software, but you don't have to. Even the humming of the little boy as he's drawing, I mean, how peaceful is that? And grandparents, aunts, uncles, moms, dads, siblings, they all love watching that. So, yeah, but I do think, you know, you want to trim it up. You don't want to have just one long video of the same thing of following a little boy. You just want to cut it up and make it smaller sections. So that helps me. And if people have more questions about it, I use like a 3-second rule. Every three seconds, I split my video and I trim it up like that. And I delete all the other clips. It doesn't make sense in between. I just kind of clean it up like that. So it's one long video that I keep cutting into smaller bits and I mix it. So.
Sounds good. I'm thinking that you're staying silent during the filming. You're letting the kids see what they want to say or hum. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you can ask questions, but I cut it all out. I edit that all out. When kids look at their parents, I edit that out. There's no interaction with the people around them. I want them to just be in their element.
Nice. Let's see, a couple of questions about, actually 3 questions about Facebook Live. And I don't want to go too long because we're at about 5 after 10. I want to make sure you've got time to do the rest of your presentation. Does everyone watching a Facebook Live presentation need to have their own Facebook account? I think the answer is yes.
Yes, yeah, they should. Because you have to be an administrator of your library's Facebook account. So, you know, and if you're not, you have to use someone else's account to do that.
Got it.
You can also post it on YouTube, of course, if you want to do that, but then you have to share it on Facebook, or someone else has to share it on Facebook. You can do that too.
Sure. And somebody watching it would need to have a Facebook account to be able to see it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I have friends that I sent the video clips to, and they can, because public library, the public library is public, they can still see the Facebook.
Oh,
So
okay.
they don't have to have an account to watch it, as long as it's public. You know, my account, my own private account is also public.
Good. Well, I'm going to, I know we have a couple more questions. I'm going to save them, and but I'm going to stop for questions right now. I know we've had some more come in while we were talking, but I want to let you, there goes the alarm. I want to make sure you have enough time to continue, Anna. So I'm going to mute and let you continue.
Great. Let's see if yes, hey, I did it. So I'll talk a little bit about my take-home crafts. So here you see a bird on the side. It's Mardi Gras beads and 2 pom-poms and some foam. And here's the instructions. And of course, when I made the instructions, I draw that all in Word. I'm going to show you how to draw in Word. It doesn't have to be this complicated, but it reminded me of an IKEA piece of furniture, so I changed my title into Danish. I thought it would be funny. Don't know if everyone thinks it's funny. I just have fun with it. So there's that. Here's my bird. I'm going to talk to you about take-home craft kits. So here, this is the simplest one you can draw in Word. It's an egg. It's a Humpty Dumpty. And later when I go out of this, I can show you what it looks like. So the kids are supposed to take this home, draw an arm here, draw a foot here, draw a foot here, draw an arm, eyes, nose, mouth, everything. And then they can use it like that, or they can cut the whole piece up like a puzzle on the back. And it's a very simple craft that I've used a lot of times. One of the first ones I drew in Word. So here's a couple more. This one I drew in Word, and they're all in your folder. So I'm going to show you at some point, I'm going to show you how to draw stuff in Word. I'm just going to show you this. On the left side, I took a JPEG I made a JPEG of my Microsoft Word account. So when you go to your file and you open those Microsoft Word files, they might look all jumbled around because it will open it up differently in your computer than it will in my computer. And so you might have to move stuff back in place. That's why I uploaded some images in the same folder too, so you can kind of have an idea of what it's supposed to look like. So here, of course, this I drew in Word. And what I like to do a lot of times is, for example, when you have a tail that fits on a piece of paper, I put 5 on a piece of paper and I print 5 donkeys out. And then I cut those tails in apart. So I just put one tail. Of course, it saves me a lot of paper. That's why I do that kind of stuff. So these ones I drew in Word, these are finger dancers where you cut holes in the bottom, and of course, all different kinds of animals, and you can print them on colored paper and then put googly eyes on them and then put your fingers through it and make them dance. This I drew in Word. This is a thaumatrope. So and this is more complicated. What you do is you cut this oval out and you cut that oval out and you glue a stick here in the middle and the stick comes out on the bottom, or like a skewer or something like that. And then, of course, it's on a stick, and you have a blank set on one side and a rocket on the other side. And in this little area, you can glue a photo of your own face or draw a picture of an alien. And when you roll the stick in between your hands, this thaumatrope is spinning, and it makes a optical illusion where it looks like you are in your rocket. You can do the same. I think some of you might have seen the bird cage with a bird on one side and a bird on the other side. If you rotate it really fast, the bird will go in the cage. Of course, you can draw it by hand. I've done that too. This is a sample of that. You can do a fish in a bowl. Great things for next year. And for the last year, we all know that that was the previous year was about space. So all my colleagues are in the windows here of the rocket. So this is all drawn in Word. Here's birds that is also in your folder. You cut it out like that, you color it. I did patterns in the back, and the bird looks like that. You fold it a certain way. It's very easy, simple. And here, there's all Facebook Live links of the crafternoons and where I made those birds. You can click on the link and follow the instructions. Very fun. You can hang them up. Here's a vulture on the bottom. Same principle. And then this I also drew in Word, and then I cut it out with my Cricut. I love the Cricut. I have a Cricut Air here that I can show you. And so what I do is I draw things in Word, and then I take a screenshot of it. So it turns it into a JPEG, just like I did it in your folder. And then I load it into my Cricut software, and I can cut this out. And of course, we don't like to pre-cut everything for the kids that come to our programs, but these are the crafts that I do at the senior care centers in this neighborhood where we go with the kids. And a lot of the seniors are not able to cut or to glue. So a lot of it has to be basically just pull it out of a bag and put it together. It has to be super simple. This is a perfect craft for a senior center, and I got a lot of success with that one. So here's a couple samples that I did in Word. On the left side, you see the turkey head bingo. For a turkey bingo that I showed you earlier, you are not able to play the game if you don't wear a turkey hat. So for our virtual turkey bingo, we handed out the supplies to make a turkey hat, 2 paper bags, a strip of brown paper, and 2 pieces of white paper, and you fold you crunch the paper bags like that, you staple them to the band, and then you make those little caps for the turkey legs, and that's what you have to wear when you play turkey bingo. On the right side, you see another IKEA craft where I put together a stick horse from a sock. Same thing. It looks professional, it looks beautiful. On the bottom, you want to get the logo from your library. And if you are a little bit more familiar with that kind of stuff, you want to get a vector file, because if you make it large or small, it will always keep the same quality. So, and it also will blend in with whatever color you put it on. It won't just have a white background. So Bear Public Library on the bottom. And then I draw all those parts into Word. Well, of course, this is, a little bit more advanced. I'm going to click to this last page. Here's some of the links of the things that I've done in the past. Here's the Noble Stick Horse. That's the one that you just saw. Here's an air horn. I have one right here that I'll blow for you. They're super loud. Oh, that kind of hurt my ear. And then there's a link to my crafternoon of how to make one of those. They're simple, they're very effective and fun to make and obnoxious. And the last one is about lanterns. And those you can cut by hand or cut them with the scissors. Very simple ones, very complicated ones. Like, of course, the little houses that I just showed you. Those are also cut out in the Cricut, or you can cut them with an X-Acto knife. So I'm going to click out of this because this is the last thing. I'm going to go to my Word file, Word here. And so I'm going to draw for you something in Word. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first thing that you want to do is, I got this bar. Oh, I can drag. Oh, here. Cool. Now I finally get it. And if you have questions, we can open up the mic and I can answer questions as I go. And you can see how I draw something in Word. So first thing you want to do is you're going to go here. You have a new file open here. Go into Insert, and you're going to do a shape. So here's all the different kinds of shapes that you can pick. You got to play around with it. So this is perfect if you sit behind your desk and you're waiting for your next patron to come in, or you know, you have some time off. There is a circle. So it's blue, and I like to right-click on it, and then there's all the different things you can do with it. Here's crop text. So I think what I want to do, I want to have it in front, or you can go behind. Either way, it depends on what you, if you want to put anything over it. Let me do it in front. And then the next thing I'm going to do is here, edit points. And this is a really powerful tool. See, now you got edit points. Because when you have those edit points are also used in, for example, Adobe Illustrator. And so you can grab them and you can pull them like this. And then you see those little army things on here. And if you right click this, you can do a smooth point. That's this thing. You can do a straight point or a corner point. Or you can delete them or add. So what happens is if you pull this, it'll go wider or narrower, or it can go pointy like that. And if you click on another section, you can add another one. I'm going to do one here. There, pulled it. And do one here. Do one here. So of course you can make different shapes like this. The other thing you can do is upload a picture. If you have a simple piece of clip art that you're not super happy with, but you want to have something like that. And you can make this thing transparent. There's a setting, if you right click on it, let me see where it is. If you go into format space, a shape, you can make it transparent, or you can change the color. And so the picture underneath will show, and then you can drag those lines, those edit lines, those points over the image, and you can kind of copy it like that, which is really fun. Like another, oh, I didn't want to do that. You go here, get there. And go on this side. See how fun? And I would recommend you drawing something like this, because you can't go wrong. Oh, I pulled that. Okay, that wasn't the idea. Oh. Experience is the best teacher. There. Ooh. So you can kind of get the idea of what I'm doing here. Let me change, let's see what the straight point, what does that do? Oh, I think it makes, so you can make one long and one shorter. Different kind of control. Now this corner point turns it into a corner. So you can do that. Okay. No, I don't want that. I want this. Make it narrower. Cool. Okay, here. Now we're going to do, you can do format shape. Oh, so you can here, you can fill it. If you do no fill, it's white. I do want to fill. If you do a gradient fill, it'll look like that. You can also fill it with a picture here, or you can upload a picture. You can do a pattern like this. I think I'm going to go with a gradient. And here you can see all these things. You can change that, and you can change the colors. So if, for example, you can change the direction of the gradient. This is how I made those rockets. You know, it kind of made a square and made the gradient go up and down with these different kinds of directions you can do. I'm just going to keep it simple. So, but I'm going to insert some more. And Joy, if you want to send me some questions, I can answer those as I'm drawing.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Will do. We have a question about when you are reading books on YouTube. Can you talk more about copyrights and permissions from publishers as you read books?
So what we've figured out is, I've done it in the past too, and of course you can always get away with a fair use thing that some libraries use. We found out that we can post stuff on Facebook as long as it's not forever. So we have to delete it. And with certain publishing houses, that's what they request. So that's how I would do it. And you can always email the publishing houses. They will give you information on what you can use and what you can't use. So yeah, it's a very good question, because you don't want to get in trouble. But of course, they are educational. And so yeah, in the past, we've done it with fair use. But right now, we've done a little bit more research. So a lot of times they will say that, as long as it's, you know, therefore, not forever. And
thank you. Did I cut you off? Keep going.
No, that's kind of how we, and I think it's a tricky thing, you know, you want to be respectful and careful, and we are, but you know, it is a special situation. So.
Thank you. So another question about Facebook Live videos. Do you have any concerns that you'll get comments that are inappropriate on your Facebook Live videos? This is a concern of some of our staff. My guess is that you've not had any issues. Just curious.
So for example, what things I've not had that issue. The audience that I'm aiming at usually can't even read. So that's not a problem for me. I think if the parents see it, you know, what am I going to do? Someone posted it. It's a public thing. You know, all we can do is delete it. I really, you know, there's so many things that you know, I wouldn't worry about it, delete it, and hopefully delete it or educate this person, you know, in a nice way. If you have a nice comeback or a nice way of addressing it, use it as an example.
Thank you. So a question from a little bit, a question from a little bit earlier in your presentation when you were talking about the videos that you do with the kids. Let's see, a person is asking, how do you balance your time programming and making videos with the rest of your day-to-day projects, with the amount of filming and editing that you do?
So my filming, my show and tells take about half an hour or so for me to do. You know, sometimes I have to drive out there, and the editing of a video clip takes me about an hour, hour and a half. So I'm fast, but I also do it in an off time where I have to sit. For example, I have to be in the library because someone has to answer the phones. You know, and I kind of like that. I'm kind of all over the map. But like, for example, this kind of stuff, if I would have to draw a ghost like this that I'm drawing right now in as a sample for a craft for kids, I have to draw it, I have to scan it in, I have to copy it and print it out. And if I ever want to do it again, I have to do the same thing again because my copy might have gotten old and dirty. Whereas if I draw it in Word like this, it's there forever. I can just send it to the printer right away. And how long did this take? to draw. You know, that was beautiful. Someone's playing the harp.
That was my reminder alarm.
Oh, beautiful.
That I have a harp instead of like,
Yes.
church bells and stuff. That was my reminder that we've got just 5 minutes left. And what I want to do is read to you 2 comments that came in. So these aren't questions for you to answer. One person commented, Anna, you are amazing.
Oh.
And another
So
person
much
commented,
appreciate that,
that it is very refreshing to hear an open, spontaneous, and trusting process of the creative process with children. I feel like sometimes programming is overly controlling at the end product. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that is kind of my philosophy, because it's more about exposing your audience than, we are not educators, but we are motivators. And I think that's the key. You don't have to have an end result. And I think with a lot of kids, you plant a seed. It's the same with reading. If you read a book and it's a fun experience, they'll pick it up. They might not do it right away, but they might do it in the future. Same when I grew up as a kid, my aunt taught me how to sew. I didn't sew for years. And then, I know how to do it. I am not afraid of it. And I think that's usually a problem with with families that they're, well, I don't know. I'm not going to teach you how to sew because I don't know how to do it. Well, pull it out and try it, and that's very important to me. And I think once you plant that seed, little kids are so proud to sit behind a sewing machine and press that pedal and make it go as fast as possible. You've done a great job. And, and that needs to stick with them. That's my philosophy.
Excellent. Well, I think we can wrap things up for everybody. I put a couple of, sorry, 90 minutes has gone by, so I'm tongue-tied. I will tomorrow send you an email that has links to the recording from today, and that recording should be available by Monday. And it will be closed captioned, and I'll have some timestamps in there that Anna gave me so that people will be able to jump to just a section about 2 different sections. And let's see, I could probably share that page with you. What you will see, let's see, I'll share my screen. I'm just going to stop screen sharing with Anna for a moment and find the right one. No, there we go, found it. So many screens. This is the resources page for today's webinar. So it will have a link to the recording that's available on Monday, and the folder full of resources that Anna has put together to share with you. He has those in OneDrive, and there's lots of samples and lots of handouts that are helpful that he covered today. We'll also have a link to the evaluation form. And I'll mention that when you exit the webinar today, you will have an opportunity to click through to the evaluation form. So it would be great if you would do that this morning. If not, when you have a chance. And for those of you who need continuing education activity hours, there is a CE activity report form there too. So with that, we are at 10:29. So I will stop the recording and wish you all a good week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Anna. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you for having me. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.